Okay, I'm gonna make a short video on the entry I take. Same setup, just different entry. Every single time is this is the entry I look for. All of the levels I'm entering off of, and it's pretty self-explanatory to be honest. It's just your level gets swept. Your level gets swept. You foul like an interior low. You have a big wick like this, small body, and that's kind of the whole setup. Oh, sorry, the whole entry. So, what I will do is I'll just show you a couple of the examples and a couple of the trades I was taking and looking at in the last few days doing this. And we just go through a couple of examples, like for example this one. Um, daily level, right? Daily level here. Something that's gonna flip direction back higher. We get a big wick down like so into the range just below here. If we actually just go in replay mode real quick and go to that location. No idea what just happened. The whole chart got cut. Leave. Should have probably read what it said. Oh, start new. There we go. Okay, if we just go to here, we just take a look at this range on the 5 minute and see if we close anything. We can come back down, test into it. If so, seeing a candle like this is a perfect sign that this is the trade that you want to take. So we're going to higher time frame, and we see not really a range at all on the 5 minute. So right now the only thing that's set up is the 1 minute time frame, but we have our most exterior high here. It's the most exterior we can get. Pushes all the way down into the lowest point of the range, which is going to be all the block is here. Tests into it perfectly. What we do from now is we just simply get in at the body, and we have our stop loss here. I have mine here. You should have yours here, at least. And that's pretty much it. It's just either sweeping lows with a higher time frame level, pushing into the bottom of the range with a nice rejection to move lower, which is this look, and then just simply taking it, and every single time taking it to the easiest target. So for me, easiest target is just going to be this order block right here, and that would be the whole trade. That's my go-to setup every day. That's what I wait for. I don't enter anything else anymore, to be honest. And like I said, if we have more stuff on top of that as well, with like sweeping interior lows or exterior lows, and then having that type of look of a candle, that's the type of thing you want to go for. Whereas something like this, this is the candle we look for, but it's not tested into anything. So why is this going to work? This isn't going to work if it's not tested into anything. But notice a lot of the times it still has that major pull up before it actually fails in the direction anyway. So you still get an opportunity to break even. You shouldn't really be break evening that fast anyway, but you get the point. But if this was to happen, testing into this daily or the bottom of this range, the last Fair Value Gap, whatever, this is something I'll try. So I'll look for a couple examples and then I'll just come back when I find one. So this right here is perfect. A perfect setup of what it looks like. There's no levels here, but just imagine it was. And it's tested into the daily or weekly, even 15, whatever. And we failed that low. And we have that rejection higher. Rejection to move lower. Simply just go straight for it. And I just take that straight up. And that is the look. This is the ideal look that I look for. Is closing some sort of higher, moving down to the bottom of the range again. In this scenario it didn't close any higher, but if it did, that's even better. And then moving down to the bottom of the range again, and moving further below the order block and sweeping the low, getting this pull up is the exact look that I'll be looking for now in that trade setup. So yeah, that's one example. Most likely, if this tested into anything, I can actually just move the chart back 15-minute time frame. Do we have a high here on the 5-minute? We have the next range. Well, I mean, this didn't close on the 1-minute; it would have closed, so we could say this has already been tested into. So ideally, this is actually the next leg to be tested into. So if we're basing off of that, the order blocks here, test down into it, we get this pull up again. It's the same setup in a scenario like this. If the stop loss wasn't so big, if stop loss wasn't so big, I would take this. Stop loss down here is gonna near enough solidify that it's gonna be a winning trade. It's obviously more of an aggressive look, but this is the type of trade stop loss I would have, just because I know this next place it's gonna test into. And personally, a pull up like this is, like I say, is a good sign that it's not going to go any lower. So yeah, just testing into the range, having a big pullback up, and then just taking the trade straight off of that move. Same thing again, really. Sweeping lows, moving down after closing highs. Regardless where you wanted to take this. This is the type of setup I'd go for again. Doesn't go up 1R, but obviously would have been able to get break even there. Even if you didn't, you never would have got stopped out and it would have went higher anyway. So yeah, all it really is, it doesn't have to, you don't have to get the sweep, really. You don't have to get the sweep, it can just be the ideal, close higher, come down, into the order block. Literally like this, like exhibit A right here. Closing here, didn't close this low, so why is this going to do anything else other than bring us into here? We get that big pull down into the order block, and then we can just take that. Simply just take that. Would have never got stopped out. Would have been a, pretty painful trade to be in, but it would have ended up working out. Let's see what else we can find here. Same thing again, really. It's just look for this candle. It's just, that's what I really say. Look for that candle with the setup. That candle with the setup, and like I say, if you get a sweep on top of that, it's even better. But this is all I'm looking for. It's just closing, actually having a logic behind it, not just seeing a big wick and going, okay, we'll get in, and just simply taking it. Easiest targets here, 1R. I'll take it to the higher. We never closed the low, so it should go to the high anyway. And that's generally it. It's generally all I'm looking for, is coming into bottom of the ranges, having a big pull up, showing signs it's not going any lower or higher. I don't really take shorts right now, but the same thing on the top side, really. If it fails to go higher, has a sweep. In this scenario, obviously this isn't anything. You've closed the higher, so why is it going to go lower? So obviously this is going to be nothing. You get the point. If we just go to a time where it's actually, this one here. This one here is a great one. This size body is completely fine because the wick's still massive. We sweep lows, fail to move lower. We get that type of rejection. With a body that big, I normally try and go for the midpoint. Obviously because this is where it opens. The next candle opens here, so if it can test back down, it can. That's ideally the better place to get into, Because if it does end up failing, it's probably not going to fail until it gets to the high of that candle. So you want to kind of be break even once we get here on this type of look. But this is the ideal thing. If I thought we was going to go higher for some reason after coming down to here and we ended up sweeping that, then this is the thing I'm going to go straight for. It's just seeing that sweep, failing to move lower, having our candle, getting straight off of it to easiest target. In this scenario, easiest target is the order block of this next range. There's 2.81, 2.82R. Can we do the same thing here? And don't say, for example, going off of that setup anyway, like just throwing that to the side real quick. If we don't get that and we still get this type of look, right? Closed higher. Next range it needs to hold. You know, if we have swept something and we're changing direction, this is an interior range. Shouldn't do anything until we get all the way up into the exterior range, which is going to be this higher point. Closed, comes down, sweeps. Moment it sweeps, best opportunity to get in is going to be here. And on top of that as well, if we didn't want to take that, I'm sure there's a 15-second range. We close, we come back down, we test into it. Massive rejection to move lower. And it's the candle again. It's just that candle. Sweeping in back into the 1 minute order block. It's been gained. We haven't closed that, but like I said, on the 15-second time frame, most likely close to higher, coming down into the 15-second order block. Take that up to this target's already been taken, so our target's going to be the interior higher. And yeah, so ideally, what I look for now is not really a continuation of order blocks. Still do, like I say, still do. If we have a nice looking setup with something like a candle that looks like that. But I'd rather if it sweeps, fails to move lower. If we're doing that, it's literally already telling you where it's going. So why play around in the middle? Go for an order block. If there's no real reason or no real sign that it's actually holding it, a real sign something's holding it and not going any further in the direction is obviously failing to close the low. And even if it closes up, we should at least push back up into the range to fail to go lower. But obviously the likelihood of winning a trade off of that is a lot lower, so you've only got 1 or 2 trades a day. I wouldn't bother taking it if it closed, saying, oh, I can at least get to here, because it's just not worth it. So, moving on, if we can find any other scenario. Around 230 is here now. 230 is here. If we just snip this back, I want to look in this range. So 15 minute closed higher, order block, 5 minute time frame. We have closed higher, order block here. Obviously we know it doesn't test down to here. Looks like it holds off to 15 minute. So if it's holding off to 15 minute, I want to see that higher for first test into it. I want to see that closed to confirm it's not moving any lower. So 15 minutes high is here. This hasn't tested into it since we closed. Go to the hourly time frame. No range to go off of. So we've not actually tested into this range yet. I don't think we do. This might not even be a range to look at. No, we don't. Okay, but ideally, if we close this, move down, tapped into this, close them higher, and then had that type of look where another range is taken out, sweep that side, have this big rejection candle to go back higher, and we take something like that. Ideally, that's something I would be looking for. And even if we were satisfied that it wasn't going to move lower because of some reason, I would have personally just missed out and waited for it to go lower, or at least close a new range. For example, a 5 minute, if we closed that and then had this move down, or at least had a high and a low here, moved into this range, there would have been a reason to take a trade there. But other than that, there would have been no reason for me to try something like that. But go back down onto the 1 minute, look for a few more examples, and I'll just end the recording. What do we have? I'll just pause it and come back when I found something. Now this is a perfect one. So close 15-minute high, come all the way back down as it should. If we're going to move higher again, and we don't go aggressively with the high, it's going to come down to the bottom end of the range. It does. This tested into nothing. What did this test into? Nothing. But like I said, even if you get the wrong one, you normally get an opportunity to get out, like you did in this scenario. This is literally the exact thing I would look for. Have a interior low to the left that you fell, big sweep down into it, push into the level of interest, and then we're simply just taking that straight away. What's your first target here? Not much of a range. Didn't close that, so this order block shouldn't do too much. So first target is going to be here, and that's simply the ideal 10 out of 10 setup for me. Is we've closed the high time frame, we've came down into it, we've hit the level, we've failed to move up once, we've come down, we've swept that of the first failed attempt to move higher, we've swept it, we've shown a convincing sign now we're not going to go any lower, and then we're taking that what I call hammer candle, taking that hammer candle up to the first target, which is going to be here, and that's the 10 out of 10 thing I would look for every single day. Comes around about 3 to 4 times a session, to be honest, so if you miss one there will be another one at some point anyway, so don't really get annoyed if you miss it. And same thing again really with this type of look, this candle here, sweeping some lows, failing to move lower. If we go into a higher time frame and we find out this is like a 15-minute order block or something, that's going to be 10 times better. And it is a order block. And we find out that it's a 5-minute order block. So this is great. Next thing to come off of, and a convincing sign it's not digging deeper into that leg, is that hammer candle. We have a set of 1 minute lows that was swept here. We dig deep into it, into the 5 minute. Convincing sign that it's not moving lower is the hammer candle, and we simply just take it straight away. And first target is going to be that order block. So straight off a 2.58R. And that's it. Same thing again, if this swept this low, this would be the thing to take. So that's just ideally it. It's just sweeping lows, hammer candle. Reason to believe direction is actually going to continue in your favor, and just take the trade. And that's literally it. Win or lose on the day, who cares? And another thing here, this is a good example without a sweep. Alright, close higher, come down, order block, good sign that we're moving higher. What I do, if it's a black candle I do the bottom, if it's an orange candle I do the top. That's how I enter it, by the way. Probably something I should have said. So it would just be this first target for me is going to be here. This would end up being, for me, not a break even, it would have been a trowel, so closed here, would end up getting trailed up for like 0.44. If I was in it for that long, probably wouldn't have been, most likely would have been break even anyway. Regardless, that's the thing. And continuation play, if we still haven't got something and reason to believe we're still going to try and go higher, and we get that look and there was like a 15-second high we closed, and we're moving back down into the order block for that, and we have that hammer candle, same thing, exactly what we want to take. You know, in a scenario where it's that aggressive, I'd prefer if my stop loss was a bit bigger than that, but regardless, that's just a look, just a simple look. I did say I was going to end it, but I just do want to look for one more example just to drive it home, to be honest. I think that's, no it's not, you can still look for one more here, and we'll just leave it as that. This is one without the sweep, move down to the range below, being here, closed, order box getting tested into, being here, tested into the midpoint, didn't close the fair value gap, moved all the way to the bottom of the fair value gap, dug as deep as you physically can. Reason to believe we're not going low is the hammer candle. This is an ideal hammer candle where there's not even a wick on the top either. Perfect hammer candle. And I would have ended up missing this going for that regardless, but that's what I would have went for. First target being the order block, 2.63. And just one more here just because I just saw it. Closed, need to move down to the bottom of the range. Swept a interior low, being here. Gets us into this trade right here. And we're taking that up to, order block is already here, because this is the order block of this sideways movement. Just go for the higher simply. Didn't close the low, so there's no reason why the order block needs to hold anyway. So we could have gone for that, or just simply the first high here. I mean that's 2R, so don't have to be greedy of it. This is simply the first target anyway, the true target, because it is a high, and that's it. Sweep, move into the range, close the higher. So what it would be is moving up, close the range, move down into the order block, fair value gap, whatever. Maybe have a fail move up first, and then sweep that, get a hammer candle, convincing look, taking that, or we get a different one where we have, let's say that swept, move down into the range, no reason why it needs to go any lower than that after this hammer candle, and we are taking that up to the easiest target, which is going to be, didn't close that, not going to flip there, so easiest target is going to be that. So yeah, only thing I take these days is that. So hope it helps.